Hello, everybody. My name is Luz Rodriguez. I'm doing my informative presentation, and my audience today is going to be Miss Precious and Mr. John. All right. So, as a group home manager, which I work actually at McLean Inc. and Corporation, they're actually in charge of people with disabilities. So, before I start, I want to ask you guys a couple of questions, and just keep it, in mind and about these information. Okay, so how many of you guys know somebody that got a disability or a family member that got a disability? Also, how many of you know of a person that has been disabled or because of a life-changing event? I guess we all can actually relate due to the fact that disability has actually touched our life in one way or another. So, I'm going to actually go briefly about what actually was considered a person with disability in medieval times, the history of the disability, and what were the main pioneers that actually helped the people with disabilities to actually have the rights that they have today. At the beginning, at medieval times, disability was considered a parent that had a child with a disability was considered a person that God has actually was being punished because of their sins or their wrongdoing. Also, disability was considered as a deformative and a person that actually was not a good example of society per se. It was deformed, and most of these people with disabilities were actually put on institutions, and those institutions went ahead and did experiments with them and really didn't demonstrate or actually gave them the tools that they needed to learn life skills so they'll be able to live out in the community. Actually, back in the days, there were actually nothing out in the community for them to do. There was nothing to defend them. And that's when parents decided to be the pioneers of their sons and daughters and actually be advocates for them. Around the 1940s to 1950, there was actually like a big like a big revelations that that people with disability can actually be taught and they can actually live out in the community. At this time, auctions went ahead and they closed institutions that were statewide, and they said, well, you know what? They can go out in the community. They can live in community-based homes. They don't need to live in an institution. But the thing is that once they were out of the institutions, there was nothing in the community for them. Teachers were not taught how to teach a child with disabilities. There was not anything out there in the community for them. So parents became their pioneers. Parents started actually joining together in groups, and even in New York and New Jersey, they started actually advertised them in the local newspaper saying, do you know somebody with a disability? Do you have a child with a disability? Let's get together. Let's see how we can help each other. And that's when it started the whole parent movement to be advocates for their children. Most of these parents were very tired to going out to healthcare professionals, and the healthcare professionals telling them, we cannot do nothing for your child at all. When in fact, all they needed was guidance and somebody to hear them for them to be able to develop a better livelihood for their kids. Around October the President Kennedy, who had a sister with a intellectual disability, actually made a legislation to protect and to fight for these people rights. And one of these legislations were passed in October 24, 1963, and it was called the Child Health and Mental Retardation Planning Amendment to the Social Security Act. Okay, and this amendment actually provided grants to enable states to update their intellectual disability programs, increase fundings for prevention through maternity and infant care. And October 31st, 1963, the second part of the legislation was approved. It provided funding for construction of facility related to the prevention, care, and treatment of individuals with disabilities. But parents understood that there has to be more than that. So they started continuing and making associations in which it would actually fight for the rights of their individuals and actually create a home group based homes, like group homes, that will actually help them once the parents are not there anymore. So these associations were formed, and one of the associations, and the first association that was formed, was the National Association of Parents and Friends of Retarded Children. The second association was the United Cerebral Palsy, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and Special Olympic, the Arc of Tampa Bay, and the company that I work for called McLean Inc. Incorporations. And all these associations were created by parents to provide a better livelihood for their loved ones with a disability. Right now, there's a lot of parents out there that really, and guardians actually, that really don't understand once they have a child with a disability, where to go and how to advocate for their rights. These associations will provide them a guideline of how and where to go to actually have some guidelines and actually provide some kind of safety net for these children to be able to be as independent as possible and as a major component in society today. I hope everybody enjoyed my presentation. Have a great day and a great night.